Thanks. Yeah. That's good to see IT guy here. Exactly. All right, welcome Tim, welcome back in. We'll get started now with calling meeting to order. I'd like to respectfully acknowledge that we are meeting the traditional land of First Nations. It's been inhabited by indigenous peoples from the beginning. In particular, acknowledge the history, spirituality, and culture of the territory of the Chinale Nation, people of the three fires known as the Ojibwe, Adawa, and Bagwe Nation. Further give thanks to the Chippewas of Saugeen, the Chippewas of Nawash, known collectively as the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, as the traditional peoples of this land. We recognize and deeply appreciate the historic connection to this area, as well as the contribution of the Bays, Inuit, and other indigenous people whose ancestors share these land and waters. May we live with respect for each other on this land and with peace and friendship for all of its diverse people. Thank you. After today's meeting, the board met in closed session to review discuss matters narrowing development section 35 of the Services Act, as well as the Sound Police Services Board bylaw number 2019-01. Change that reference to when you get to September, we just change that to the bylaw to a policy. All right, moving on with approval of the agenda, and for the following motion, I'd like to add two additional items under item 18. Item D, the appointment of 7 years village constables, and item E, appointment of 2 special constables. And we're going to approve the agenda with an additional item. All in favor? Carried. Any declaration of conflict of interest provided in other minutes that is just on the agenda. Next. Presentation, deputation, and public participation period.
No, there was supposed to be a continued show for the other ones.
Okay. Confirmation of the minutes of the public session held on May 24th. Have a motion to accept those minutes. All in favor? Carried. Any business arising out of those minutes from the fourth meeting? Done. Correspondence received for information. There's one for the concerned citizens about the West. The further result of providing information about the city of Old Sound. We also received an email thanking us for the donations of the obsolete radios for the trains. Moving on to chairman's report. 3 minutes. On May 30th through June 1st, I attended the OSPSB AGM Spring Conference. As the AGM directors for 2023 were confirmed and election of officers was held. Patrick Weaver is back in as one chair, he's 76, and Ken. Bill Hayward, who's director of Zone 1A, North Bay Services, was elected as first vice chair, and Jim Martin, director of Section 10 Southwest, who was elected as second vice chair, and Aaron Fraser, director of Big 12 Durham region, was elected re-elected actually as treasurer. She reported that the Ontario Association of Conservative Boards received a clean audit report from our auditors, moved to the Baker Tilden LLP to approve the auditors 2023 statements. All directors and their bios can be found on the OSPSB website. They're about 100 directors. Which is a good segue to remind you that they should already do signing and access the member portal. One reason for doing it right now specifically is all of the slides and presentations have been loaded up into the member portal from the AGM Spring Conference. And it's within the member portal, you move under education and training, conference and seminars and presentations, and show you Spring Conference 2023. This year's conference was by far the best I've attended in the last 5 years I've been going. It was more than informative and wide spectrum of topics. Some of the topics included were police branding, police perception of police, public expectations, stressors impacting staff, and of course that of officers. The OSPSB and OSPSB is collaborating for better results in their working relationship, trying to about the gender presentation. Brian Teschner, the Unit Inspector General of Police and Ontario, gave a speech on working together to improve performance of public safety. They're also presented this case study on Thunder Bay, issues that happen there, the government's by leaning into the experience, expertise, and transparency. There was also a workshop on board evaluation and monitoring performance, as well as one on communications and public relations, from view of what to say and what not to say, and who was to say it. Lisa Darling, executive director of the OSPSB, and her team did just an amazing job putting this all together. I think we raised the bar pretty high for next year. On June 6th, I attended our Zone 5 meeting via Zoom. Guest speakers were from the various pillars of inspecting policing, explaining their roles and inspectors. So, one of the issues brought up during that portion of the meeting was the issue of school boards banning police officers from the schools, especially in Southwestern Ontario, Southern Ontario, I guess. So we haven't heard any issues with our boards in the areas. So still welcome. That's not the case. The next meeting is scheduled for September 12th, it's only 5, and that will be an in-person 12. On June 21st, I attended the sunrise ceremony at the named the Dawn Reconciliation Garden at Post Beach in recognition of National Indigenous Peoples Day. On June 28th, I attended the OSPSB strategic planning session in Toronto, and that meeting we reviewed the strategic plan, action plan, as well as the budget. Given that the current CSPA has been delayed, our transfer payment agreement training received from the government is flexible enough that it can be moved. So originally planned CSPA was going to be in effect on June. That's now going to be delayed, and Wayne probably going to provide an update. Quality is available. I suspect it's going to be the fall. So if the training is supposed to start today and finish from the office today, that will be moved back to first day of payment. And CSP to back because the whole transfer payment agreement was predicated on review, implementation, or proclamation. CSP. I don't know why it was a speculation why it was delayed. Also, we looked at the new and existing committee members were named the Advocacy Committee, Human Resources, Homers, and Finance Committee. And during those discussions and committees, I sat on my hands just so there was the volunteers. So it was good, and there was lots of volunteers. So that was excellent. We also reviewed the new website and the new OSPSB applications were reviewed. We're looking at putting a lot more information from the zones onto the new website. So that should be interesting to it. Also the structure and administration of the zone is also revisited. There was now we start to do that in June Sweden from Orangeville. He's probably one of the most knowledgeable ones on it. And I expect to hear something by September. Next conference is the labor conference coming up this fall, and a date is yet to be decided. I suspect it might be in the area of hotel. Sort of central place for everyone to participate. That concludes my report. Any questions? Moving on, governance, a brief update on the progress of the bylaw and policy review plan. As you recall, our meeting, we approved 91 updated policies. Still 5 require minor updating, and the remaining 2 being 18 combined into a new general policy 010, and our remaining 7 are reviewed by the board and will be officially approved at September. Moving on to Inspector Bishop.
Inspector Bishop is on vacation this week, so I'll get his reports. There's a lot of information here. I'll just try and touch on some of the highlights. So criminal investigations branch and drug enforcement criminal intelligence unit on May 14th, the members of our CIB assisted uniform patrol where a victim, a 30-year-old man, was stabbed multiple times by the accused, a 34-year-old sound man. Victim's injuries required surgery and hospitalization. A search warrant was completed for the residence this year where this occurred. We were assisted by the tactical and rescue unit. The warrant was executed. The accused was not located during that warrant, but was located by police the following day. The accused remains in custody and was charged with aggravated assault, assault with a weapon, possession of a weapon for a dangerous purpose, and the victim in that case is expected to make a full recovery. On May 30th, members of our CIB assisted uniform patrol where an accused, a 31-year-old sound male, threatened multiple residents in the rooming house. Investigation revealed the accused had also brandished a firearm and pointed it at one of the residents. The accused was arrested by police and charged with uttering threats, pointing a firearm, unauthorized possession of a firearm, failed to comply with a release order, and failed to comply with an undertaking, and that accused remains in custody. We had an incident involving extortion and distributing of an intimate image. On October 18th, this investigation began. We received a complaint with respect to distribution of an image. In that investigation, revealed that a 17-year-old female had shared intimate images of herself with an unknown person over social media. The person then told the victim that if she did not send further images or money, that the images would be distributed to friends and family. The victim did not give in to those demands. Multiple production orders were completed by police, which identified residents in Burnaby, British Columbia, where an unknown person had communicated with the victim. In January, Burnaby RCMP obtained a warrant for the residents and located devices that contained several images and messages from victims across Canada. The victim from Owen Sound was identified in that warrant, and an 18-year-old Burnaby man will be charged with extortion, possession, and distribution of child pornography. Our mobile mental health and addictions response team, they had 16 incidents they responded to in May, 3 community consultations, 13 follow-ups to clients, 8 officer referrals, and 2 cases that were referred to situation team. Detective Howson attended the annual firearms trainers for qualification course. Detective Martin attended the domestic violence course and power case course, and Detective Bridgman, who is in our MPART unit, attended the violence threat risk assessment area. In May, there was no suspected drug-related deaths. To date this year, there's been 6 at the time of this report. Unfortunately, since then, I believe suspected drug-related deaths attributed to 2 more in the recent weeks. Unless there's any questions, I'll move on to the auxiliary report. Busy month for the auxiliary unit in May. They had a total of 139 volunteer hours by the auxiliary members. On May 6th, they attended the Race for Reach fundraiser at Harrison Park, where hundreds of participants ran and won a 5-kilometer event. On May 8th, the members attended Zayre's grocery store, the Shop with a Cop event. This event was in partnership with the Optimus Club as a fundraiser for Salvation Army. In this event, children from a local elementary school were paired up with an officer and shop for food items. On May 17th, the members attended a local high school with their community services officer for a traffic safety blitz, educating young drivers on the dangers of drinking and driving before the May long weekend. On May 27th, members participated in the Hike for Hospice as a team from the police service entered the fundraiser to support the chaplain who's set up. On May 29th, they had their regularly scheduled meeting, and they had a presentation from our training officer, Carlo Helios, who presented on the different types of firearms, safety practices, and brought samples of firearms for presentation. He specifically showed the members how to retrieve a police carbine and vehicle mounts should a member have access to it while escorting police officer while on patrol, and also how to access the officer's sidearm if they do so. We had a new class of auxiliary recruits. They commenced their training with Sergeant Franny and assisted by Constable Helios. The training program was 6 weeks in length with 2 sessions per week in the evenings. And the new class consists of 7 new members for the unit, and training to be it's now completed just a couple weeks. There's no questions on the auxiliary units. We'll move on to the community-oriented response and enforcement unit. During May, they had 31.5 foot patrol hours, 6 criminal charges, 2 warrant arrests. They participated in various events at Keystone, St. Basil's School, St. Mary's High School, where they participated in a long weekend driver safety program. They also assisted public health with biohazard and some kits that were distributed in the River District. And they participated in the Shop of the Cop event with East Ridge Elementary School. Bike patrol and foot patrol locations for the unit were in the River District, including focus on specific concerns identified by the community. Also, Grey County Housing Unit on the west side and some east side businesses for their some issues. They also participated in a joint operation with some frontline officers on a commercial motor vehicle enforcement project. They were attended and monitored a peaceful protest at an east side office. And also collaborated with Grey County issue at west side department. That concludes the full report. There's no questions. I can move on to my report. So the frontline patrol and collision statistics report, during May, we had 115 HDA charges, 32 cautions, 111 criminal code charges, 21 bylaw or other provincial offenses charges, and 117 hours of patrol in the district. We had 24 on-duty ride checks during the month, with 665 drivers checked, 11 breath tests administered. We had 2 impaired driving charges. We had 45 collisions with 15 on the east side, 9 on the west side, and 21 in parking lots. 11 of the collisions were fatal remains. 27 of the collisions were referred to our collision reporting center, and 18 were investigated by our officers. Moving on to community services. Jason was busy as usual during May. I participated in planning for the River District Bike and Safety Workshop. That was local high schools for presentations on traffic safety, internet and social media awareness, and campaigns for the May 24th weekend and heading into prom season. Participated in meetings with some of our local partners, Grey Bruce Crime Prevention Action Table, Grey Bruce Local Immigration Partnership, and the Elk Street Resource Center. There's presentations at East Ridge School on youth advocacy and the law, St. Dominic Savio on bike safety, Alexander School, where we had some one-on-one meetings with students and parents to do with some specific issues there. Traffic safety blitz at St. Mary's and West ESS, and the presentation at Hillcrest on internet safety to the grades. And we can see a picture there of some of our members with the law enforcement torch run t-shirts. We had a very good turnout for the torch run, and kudos to Mark Flood, who put in a lot of work planning that event. It was very successful. It's a partnership with the other local municipal police services, and the end location was at OSPSB, where we had a number of people in attendance there, and a really nice barbecue and
yeah, and kudos to Mark and Jason and then the planning committee, and there were probably over 200 people there for the final event. All of the schools in Grey and Bruce that supports that have classes that support Special Olympics were brought in for the final run around the school and for the barbecue at the end of the day, and That would be great. It was a great event. It was great to see the kickoff and the smiles on the people on the police motorcycle and having yes, and a lot of cooperation. So and this other boards where they started with a run in Port Elgin from to the police station, and then they all packed up and went to Hanover. There was a run from downtown to the from the police station down to the downtown, and then they packed up and went to West Gray, and then the caravan made it all the way around and back here, and all the representatives from the services came up here and did the final.
So moving on to lost hours and training, we had 19 full-time members report sick or injured during the month of May, for a total of 361 hours. 2 members on WSIB for a total of 68 hours. For training, we had 6 or 7 members attend the Law Enforcement Bicycle Association training course. So Constable Globe is a trainer on that course, and he trains several of our members on gave them the bike course. And I think we also had members from outside service that as well. So, successful course. We had a member attend the level 2 collision investigator course. Member on the forensic shooting scene investigator course, power case course, domestic violence investigator course, applied suicide intervention skills training. We had 2 members on that. A member attended the frontline supervisor course, and I attended the constable selection system training course. That's it for lost hours and training.
Let's take a recess, huh?
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
So we got chocolate chip cookies, double chocolate muffins, confetti bars, chocolate white chip cookies, hello dollies.
Well, I'll be the first. Hello, Holly. Thank you.
Oh, what?
On because you can tell them. You can put one in the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's. Keep that.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
Hey, 5.
Few minutes, time for.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. This should be $10.
There you go.
Good, thank you.
Thanks so much.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Really good try. That's a lot, but there it is.
Oh, sorry. Oh. Just drop the check and this is the white check. Yeah. Thank you. You can got it. Thank you. Absolutely. It does feel like things are slowing down. Oh, they are. They don't make it easy. No. It's good work. Thank you.
Yeah, like some hours in the sector and she deals with a lot of stuff. She goes to stuff that's there, doing things, so.
$3, please.
It's good feedback.
It's so much.
Great, good to do that.
Thank you. Your last. No, I think so. It's actually more underneath that line.
So much.
They give a rise snowplow for that, for the rest of the day, if they were going back out. I just love it, you must get his arm up there, thinking he's a snowplow operator, thinking he's operating the wing and everything.
Yeah.
There's no fan.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you.
You know what? You know, I agree.
Thanks, Owen.
Yeah, right. So go to the meeting too.
See you next week.
Yeah.
Thanks, Zach. Have a good day.
Cheers.
Just push the open button. Service.
So for the board bylaw reports, there's not a lot to report. There is just a total of 4 taxi licenses issued or renewals. And 3 adult entertainment licenses issued during May. Moving on to the court reports. There was a total of 14 custodies that had to be transported to the court building for appearances during the month. Those were done by the offender transport unit. As far as court appearances, 55 appearances of persons who are charged by the OSPSB police services. 14 meals and a total of 1,150 special constable hours during May. That concludes the court report.
Sorry to comment on that. This is returning more towards midway to the same as before COVID as far as staffing levels, although there aren't as many people coming in. The fact is that we're still getting more bodies in than we did during COVID. So you'll see that we started to move forward in the year, the costs for port security go back to normal, but our grant stays at the reduced amount.
Yeah, they're making more appearances at the court, but bail court appearances are still done at the police station by a virtual link. So we have a special constable working here through the day. Records reports, local criminal record searches are being completed and sent back to the individuals within 1 to 2 weeks. Submitting them. We accept criminal record applications in person at the service as well as online. There's a total of 6,509 bulk searches completed during the day.
Very much, Jeff. So update from the top center and director of office. Probably just go to the highlighted to the screen on the report for human resources. So we're short one position for a full-time communicator that we're looking to fill right now. We're in the process. We still have 3 openings or 5 openings for part-time, and we'll be looking at filling those. In September, we have some more hires coming on board, and we have 1 switchboard opening presently. You'll see the ins and outs for the comm center and the staffing levels. It has resulted in some overtime this year, and the schedule in the last month, a couple hundred hours to fill the required shifts. 911 calls, you see increases in all the different areas from low 16% to high of 64%. It's getting very busy, and we're gathering more and more calls every day. You can see those rates going up. May at 234, which is quite a bit significantly higher from May of last year, and same with April and March. So the trend is calls for service are increasing significantly. Same with the dispatch CAT events. You can see 11% increase. Grey County Transport obviously is down, but that's this time of year. We're not just busy with them. If you look to the daily dispatch rate for Owen Sound Police Service, you can see we're averaging 56 calls a month in May, which is the highest we've been even for the summer peak summer months last year. So we just keep getting calls for services. We keep getting increased percentage. A trend that's not expected, but not a good trend.
Any reason for the number of 911 no answers?
Yeah, it's the 911 no answers are technology. A lot of them are technology. We have technology based, and with the technology and smartphones, it automatically will call if you push your side button 5 times. Automatically calls if it's in somebody's pocket. It's pocket down and one. So the messaging is going to stay on the line, so we just clear that off. Otherwise, then we call for service follow up. Sure, then there's an impact in emergency. But that a lot of those are technology based issues of concern. It's a great idea if it's not accidentally.
It could happen, Chief. I keep going.
You don't have to admit anything today. I appreciate that.
Don't hang up, stay on the line.
Yeah, exactly. That's the biggest thing, is to stay on the line and make sure that everything is fine and we can resolve it full stop. No questions on the dispatch side of things. Information technology. Still working on the final implementation of the county radio system. Phone system upgrades. We're making sure that the new phone system is completely compatible before we switch everything over. Some people and all of our new hires are getting 4-digit accounts for 4 outage extensions, which is the new phone system, and we're putting new phones in. So that we can make some nice transition, and IT is working with everybody to set those phones up before we switch over. So I charged video recorder. And just wondering for the parts, and we'll be putting that out. There's been substantial work on the NG911 side of things as well. It's a busy location. Our IT people are always busy, as you can see when I call them in here to fix my computer at the last minute. There's no questions about IT. I'll move on to the financial. So having had a vacancy for 7 months, we're behind. We're paying our bills, but certainly weren't issuing invoices. We're working with the city for some projections. The projections were up as high as an $800,000 deficit in the year, but that's on the help now as we start to invoice all of those expenses. The most recent one to the end of June, we're projecting about a $285,000 deficit overage. But having gone through those, we're still looking at there's well over $100,000, about $130,000 in revenues that haven't been done. There's a number of items that we've paid for as a service that we provide to other people we haven't rebuilt back that haven't been included in there. So we are looking at an overage, but it will be related almost all to the points. Next month, we're hoping to have everything resolved and an actual report out ahead of time. It was difficult for Jeff this month because I couldn't explain to him what I wanted when I wasn't here. So, that's it with the outstanding approved accounts. Next week. My reports, my activity report is completed. So I have been away for the last 2.5 weeks. I would like to add something, and that's I want to do an introduction now, right? Yeah, it's been attended today. Yippee students. Now we're going to get each of them to do a quick introduction of themselves. So I know how much they probably all like public speaking. And you're on YouTube, so don't say anything too personal, but just introduce yourself, who you are, where you live, what you hope to get out of the Yippee student program this summer. So we'll start with Keegan.
And I'm taking. I do hope criminology and police foundations on post-secondary.
Excellent. Welcome. Tessa?
Hi, I'm Tessa. Grade 10 this fall. And I'm from Owen Sound, but my family's from Nashville. And I'm hoping to get out of this program something which is in forensics. Awesome.
Excellent. Welcome. Thank you. And Ephraim?
Hi, my name is Afreen, and I live in Owen Sound. I came from England, and I'm going to be going to grade 11 at OSPSB school. And I'm taking this summer opportunity to gain more experience so I can be a police officer or something along the line in future.
Excellent. We'll be looking for police officers, so keep that goal. Thanks very much and welcome.
I'm Elaine, I'm from Sound, and I'm going to grade 11. I took this job, but I'm not too sure what I want to do. I'm looking to narrow what I want to do.
Excellent, thank you. And just in the board's knowledge, we have one other, and that's Alicia, and she's been with us since January as a UP student, and she's a newcomer from the Ukraine. So she's continuing through the summer. And already I was away, but I'm following posts on social media. And always been out of Canada Peace celebration for the Harbor Front Festival. They didn't have much of an introduction for it. We're thrown right into the busy summer months. So we're welcome to have them all here, and hopefully you enjoy your experiences. And certainly we're always looking for police officers. So this is a great introduction, and everything you look for. Thanks very much for coming in today. Welcome.
So the next item on the other end of the business is supposed to be a, should have second in, who's second in. Punch ups that is. Show up to that. We're going to talk about the website for the day. And item C is Festival of Northern Lights design. And some of you may recall that our December 2022 meeting, the board agreed to share the cost of the OSPSB and sponsorship of Festival of Northern Lights. At that time, the board asked if they might see what type of design was contemplated. Design and layout is in the package today. Now, I don't think there was a siren on this.
Siren? I don't think so.
So it wouldn't be blaring all day, but it just flashing lights.
You know what?
All right.
There is a siren on it.
Oh, is there?
Yes. Metal frame with an outline in rope light and functioning roof lights, headlights, and front red and blues with a siren. It will be controlled by a computer, so the lights can be programmed in a sequence of on and off with a siren. Quite spectacular.
I'm hoping you guys.
I'll have to control.
Yeah. That would be the remote computer. All right, so is everyone happy with the study? And we have done 3 years, we did a sponsorship. And we're paying half the association thing.
Must have been a big decision, or try.
I don't think there was a decision. You may confuse the truck with something else. All right, should we have a motion to approve this tonight? Sure, okay, Cindy? All right, yeah, thank you. Nothing else. Oh, yeah, all in favor? Thank you. Yeah, there's 2 more items. 18D, where there's 7 new auxiliary officers, your constables.
Yeah, so for the auxiliary, the new auxiliary constables, as a result of a recent competition held for auxiliary constables, the following persons are the successful candidates and require an appointment to be made to the board prior to the ministry approval of the appointment. The following members successfully completed their training and final exam on June 19th. Jeremy Saunderson, Megan Berger, Nathaniel Dodd, Logan Porter, Amber Wilson, Braden Ron, and Jason Hall. I would request that the board move to approve and appoint these new members as auxiliary constables pending final approval of the ministry.
Second. Moving on to all in favor? Thank you, sir. Nothing been rushed to the agenda. Next item E. Approval of 2 special constables.
Yeah, so recommendation that the board move to approve and appoint Jeremy Sanderson and Kaylin Manning as part-time special constables for the Sound Police Service. As a result of a recent competition held for part-time special court constables, both Sanderson and Manning were the successful candidates and require an appointment to be made by the board prior to the ministry approval of the appointment.
Brian, would you like to make that motion? Sure. Okay. And Sunil, second. All in favor?
Williams.
Williams.
Yeah, they, just on Friday, there was a grant announcement for a vehicle compliance board apprehension grant.
Oh, yes.
That came out from the ministry. And, it would be, available to these amount of $400,000 per year over a 3-year term. And, we'd be looking at submitting applications to the ministry on behalf of the Electronic Services Board for, enhancement to our bail compliance. in more and we'll make occasional stuff. Or no, make you aware and your knowledge and approach. Sorry.
Okay, good. Do we need a motion for that? Sneak, want to make that motion? And that's the second. All in favor? Yes. Yes. Are you just in favor or are you question? Okay. Good. All right, anything else before we all right, so the next meeting is terminate this public meeting, the next meeting is September 27th. That's last one. Have a good summer, everyone. If you don't see you.